go! And now that the dub cast has been fully broken down, let's get into the actual episode breakdown. And there's no way you people will know that I'm recording this part a few days later. Except you do now, because I just told you. So welcome back to Pokemon, with Indigo League this time. And yeah, got a few things to go over, a few things I might have gotten a bit off last time. By that I mean I definitely did. First, I called Gary a gym leader. Gym leader. I don't know why my voice hilariously cracked there. I meant he's the best trainer from Pallet Town. Also, apparently Meowth had 2 voice actors? I didn't even notice. Okay, so Meowth's first voice actor from episodes 1 through 17 and 19 through 31, we'll get to why he wasn't him in 18 in a minute, was Nathan Price, who's Sergeant Mickey from The Irresponsible Captain Tyler, and Slow King from Pokemon the Movie 2000, a movie we won't be getting to for a little bit at this rate. But yeah, I didn't notice much difference at first, but looking up voice comparisons after this was brought to my attention, I can definitely say Maddie had the better performance with the Brooklyn accented cat. Better delivery and all that stuff. Damn it, I keep coughing. But yeah, as far as Eric versus Ted Lewis for James, I also listed them back to back and can definitely notice more of a difference now. I would say Eric is better, but that could also be because the directing for James was to sound more serious in the beginning, as we discussed last time. Speaking of Team Rocket, I don't even think I really mentioned their goal last time. So their whole thing is to kidnap, rare and extravagant Pokemon for Giovanni. As we'll get into in a minute. Well, not in a minute, it'll be a little bit, but yeah. But yeah. As far as what version we're going to be covering, well, a bit of mixed bag here. So I watched the first 52 episodes on Netflix. They're up there currently at the time of this, but I also have the Blu-ray as well. Netflix's version is missing Who's That Pokemon, which the Blu-rays do have. However, EPs 53 through 79 are only available on the DVDs. Yeah. Why? I honestly don't understand this. From what I looked up, apparently the Pokemon USA company, or PUSA, or whoever the hell's in charge of all this, thought these episodes were deemed unimportant. Don't quote me on that. That was just a comment I saw online. I don't know, but if that's the case, that's really stupid. And being as how there hasn't been a Pokemon series Blu-ray for the mainline entries in years at this point, Watch 1 is just going to be announced when this goes up. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the rest of Indigo League on Blu-ray. Which is hilarious to me because that means in this Blu-ray set, which says Indigo League set, Ash doesn't even compete in the Indigo League on the Blu-ray. What kind of bullshit is that? Speaking of which, I also saw people wanting me to go into a little more detail with why I think Ash is kind of an idiot at times and can be a bit dense. So I'll give it a quick example. At the Cinnabar Gym in the episode Riddle Me This, here is a riddle. What do tourists think is hot and cold at the same time? Ash's answer is, if you lie in front of an open refrigerator while wrapped in an electric blanket, you'd be hot and cold at the same time. I'm almost impressed he came up with this weird, extravagant answer. I don't know whether to think he's an idiot or a genius for it. The answer, by the way, is hot springs. But seriously, what the fuck? Also, last bit of, I guess, housekeeping before we get to the main thing. The Team Rocket story I promised to tell. This happens to do with the OST. So everyone knows the Team Rocket theme, right? You know, to protect the world from devastation, the theme that plays in the background. I read a comment online of someone saying they'll never forget how years and years and years ago, when they were in the 8th grade, that someone in their class gave a report in front of the, had to do a stand-up thing on Nazi Germany and played the Team Rocket theme to hype up how evil the Nazis were. And like all the responses to that comment are probably what you're thinking. That person is a legend. I died laughing when I saw that comment when researching this show. Anyway, so I guess let's get right to it. Also, let me know what your favorite Pokemon is, if y'all wouldn't mind. Favorite starter Pokemon in particular. I like Charmander. Charmander's cool. Too bad he turns into such a dick. Also, do y'all know what Diglett rhymes with? It rhymes with... so let's get to the actual show itself. I'm not going to break down each individual episode because that would be insanity, but I will cover the dub bits that I feel are most interesting that maybe you all didn't know about and give my impressions on it. First, I already said I do actually really do like the characters and their dynamic, but I will say one of the major dub changes really kicks off after Ash meets Brock in his episode, in Pewter City. So, apparently they retcon Brock's backstory in here, where his dad tells Ash that Brock's mother died. This happens in the dub, by the way. Remember, 4Kids try shying away from death whenever possible, so it seems a little strange that they would do this. I really hope this doesn't come back to bite them in the ass. Oh wait, I already know that Brock's mother happens to show up in a later season. Whoops. You might wonder, do 4Kids do anything to explain this? From what I've heard, they don't. So, massive plot hole, I guess. I swear if Brock's dad says, well, what I told you was true from a certain point of view, I will die laughing my ass off. Also, it's around this time that if you pay close attention in one of these episodes, you'll notice that 4Kids tried removing all the text because Ash's bag is labeled Satoshi, his Japanese name, but apparently there's a few scenes from what people are saying where they didn't remove it all the way, so it still says Satoshi in a couple of frames. I don't know, I thought that was really funny. This is going to be a little, again, slapdash because I just want to give my impressions on episodes I really liked. The one where Charmander's introduced was probably one of my favorite ones. First of all, his trainer was a dick who abandoned him, man, with a really strange, I'm pretty sure it's Australian accent. But yeah, what a fucking prick. But yeah, I liked how nice this episode was in the ending. How Charmander ends up following Ash and the bond him and Ash form. Good, I like Charmander. I don't like Charizard, though. He's an asshole in this. But yeah. As far as dub script changes that are kind of, or dubbed, I guess you could call it dubisms that are kind of funny, that are fucked up. Ash's mom, there's a moment where she says, I love you, Ash, and Ash replies, me too. Don't you mean you too? I don't know. There's even a moment where Misty yells at Ash, I'm not your mother, anything. Don't you mean or? Another moment is Professor Oak saying to Ash, Gary has over 45 Pokemon already, Ash. He says this in around episode 10. Then he says Gary has over 30 Pokemon on like episode 24-25. What, did Gary murder 10 Pokemon? What happened here? Another interesting dub thing was in the Clefairy episode. I'm traumatized by these things. You can ask my friends, you can ask Di. Them going, Clefairy! Repeatedly, I will now hear it in my dreams forever. But yeah, there's a scene where the Clefairies are praying to the Moonstone, as it were. And in the Japanese version, apparently Pikachu uses Ash's hair to basically show like... that it's hair in Japanese translates to kami, which means God. So they immediately know what that means, right? Well, in the 4Kids dub, hair rhymes with prayer, and that's how the characters come to the conclusion. Oh, sure, it's a little stupid that they're managed to come to that conclusion. But to be fair, I think 4Kids did the best that they could do in that situation. This is one of the few times I'm not going to harp too much on 4Kids at the moment, because what the fuck would you expect them to do in there? It's like another moment where Misty is screaming that she's afraid of bugs, where this pun makes almost no sense, but again, I think 4Kids did the best they could. Where Misty is screaming apparently mushi, which means bug in Japanese, but sounds close to the Japanese word for cow. So Ash shows up and asks, wait, you're afraid of a cow? Whereas in English, he says, when she's screaming bug, he says, maybe it's a cowterpie. Get it instead of caterpie, cow. Again, that one doesn't make much sense either. There's plenty of others, but we'd be here all day. I just wanted to give a few examples before we moved on. So, moving on from that though, other episodes I thought were interesting from this point. I like the one where Pikachu takes on Raichu, because the whole thing of Raichu evolving too quick, so he doesn't know as many moves as Pikachu does. Since Pikachu hasn't evolved yet, he could still learn more shit, and like his agility and everything. Even though Ash was an idiot who nearly got Pikachu severely injured by taking on a force far stronger than him because of how stubborn he was, but that's neither here nor there. It all worked out in the end for him anyways. As far as arcs that were around this point, the Shipwreck arc I actually thought was cool, because it was an actual arc. It was several episodes. And Team Rocket having to work with, our protags in order to survive, I thought that was cool. I actually really enjoyed that. And holy shit, Magikarp evolving into a god tier like Pokemon that really fucked him up. Was not expecting that either. Man, it was great. It's also the first episode Giovanni showed up in, and that's what I was always, oh, so there is someone in Team Rocket you don't fuck with. Alright. But yeah. Let me know if you agree with everything I've said so far. I don't know. As far as our next major bit of dubisms that I think are really funny, this was around the time Beauty and the Beast showed up, which was episode 18. As stated, Nathan didn't voice Meowth in this one episode because it was dubbed in the year 2000, a long time after the rest of the season was, making this the final dubbed episode for Indigo League. At least officially. Again, I'll explain in a bit. But yeah, so Beauty and the Beach only aired twice in that year, and then was pulled, never to be released on physical media from everything I could find, and was never shown again. Apparently it's because of a scene where James, to win a beauty contest, wears a suit that has inflatable titties. But they removed this scene in the 4Kids version. There's also a scene where an old dude lusts over Misty for some fucking reason, because Japan. But again, 4Kids censored around that too. So I don't know why they aired this episode twice and then pulled it. Those are just theories that I could find. If it's been confirmed anywhere, someone please let me know. But either way, you could still find this episode in really rough quality for obvious reasons. It's still official release. You could find it online. That's how I watched it. The episode itself I thought was pretty funny. It was bar standard Pokemon episode. But yeah. A lot of these episodes skipping over because there's just not much to comment on. Like the one with Tentacool and Tentacruel. I mean, just some crazy old bitch on, that gets attacked by a Tentacool because of her resort or some shit. I don't know what you all want me to say about that. So, if I skip over your favorite episode, I apologize. Again, this is my first exposure to Pokemon, as it were. Now, the next episode where I thought was interesting with 4Kids being 4Kids was Ghost of Maiden's Peak, where Misty uses a cross against a ghost, and yeah, they make the joke about the ghost not being a vampire, but that's a religious symbol if I've ever seen one, and they already cut around the Moonstone thing with the Clefairy episode to try getting around that whole religious thing. Inconsistency, this will not be the first time we have that. Around this time was also when Ash took on Sabrina, and I thought her turning people into dolls ability reminded me of Ririka from Bleach, so that was interesting. But yeah. After that, I guess the next point to talk about would be the second band episode, because yeah, Beauty and the Beast is considered banned. which would be episode 35. Oh, Beauty and the Beach last time. Yeah, that's why Maddie was voicing Meowth, because Nathan had already been replaced by that point by the time this was dubbed. Again, it was dubbed way later. But yeah, so Ep 35, which is The Legend of Dratini, was banned. And from everything I could find, it's because there was a guy using a handgun in this episode, and he even aims it at Ash. I know the Squirtles have guns as well, was a point I saw people bring up, but this guy apparently shoots at Team Rocket, and again, aiming a gun at Ash, a 10-year-old, probably didn't go very well, or look very good. So, and I guess this was before the time they started making everyone have invisible guns, like with Yu-Gi-Oh! Either way, this episode, there was no way I could find a way to watch it in dub, and being as how this is the episode where Ash gets 30 Tauros, and he references that at the Indigo League near the end of the season, and yeah, it's another plot hole from 4Kids they don't address. He just suddenly has 30 Tauros now, because shut up. The next banned episode, though, which is right around this time as well, was the Soldier Porygon episode. I'm sure you all know this one. Without me needing to tell you, it's the Seizure episode, which does in fact have a fan dub of it, so I was able to watch it. The fan dub, I'm not going to harp on it too much, guys. It's a fan dub. Come on, I feel mean at that point. But I will say, the episode itself had an interesting gimmick. Ash and friends have to go into the digital world. Did this inspire Digimon? Food for thought. Anyway, because of this episode causing the incident, it was delayed, the whole anime was delayed for 4 months in Japan, and the episode Snow Way Out and Holiday Hijinks, we will get to that one, wouldn't air until the following year's holiday season. You can tell how fucked this was because Ash has Charmander in these episodes instead of Charizard, which he had at that point in the series timeline. Yeah. Again, I'll break those episodes down in a bit when we get there. Another thing I noticed was in Ditto's mansion, which that was another episode I really liked. I thought that was cool, the whole copy thing. I like when people have to fight duplicates of themselves. You know, that whole thing. Hence why I'm a big Persona 4 fan. You know, face your inner shadow, as it were. And this kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But the audio on Netflix was fucked for me. I don't know. Just something I noticed. But yeah. This was also around the time Jigglypuff showed up. And I don't care what anyone says, Jigglypuff is the most moe adorable thing ever. Fight me! I could let that song lullaby me to sleep every night. Anyway, Rachel Willis did a good job voicing Jigglypuff. Also, I already went over Holy Matrimony last time and broke down the details of the episode with James' parents, but even Eric Stewart would agree this is one of his favorite episodes, and it's easy to see why. You also get Rachel Willis voicing Jessie Bell, the one he's engaged to marry, which is just Jessie with a southern accent. It's so fucking stupid, man. I don't even know what to say about that. But yeah. After this point, Misty also gets Togepi, which is a Gen 2 Pokemon. I was really confused about this when Dai told me, because I was watching it in the chat with Dai with me in there, and he's like, oh, what party are you on now? And I told him that Togepi just showed up. Apparently, yeah, Togepi is a Gen 2 Pokemon, but Gen 2 wouldn't come out until 1999. This episode, from what I looked up, aired in 98. The thing was, for a fun fact, Gen 2's games were delayed by an entire year. So I guess Togepi was still a Pokemon they had come up with at the time, but not much else. Hence why he doesn't really attack in this anime at all. He's just there to basically hang around a bit. I mean, we all know the Pokemon anime is just a giant commercial at the end of the day, right? Kind of like Dragon Ball Super with how it's meant to sell merch. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting how Pokemons that were generations ahead a bit showed up here first. Thought that was cool. Speaking of things, this is also around the time Todd Snap shows up, who's also voiced by James Cathcart. You know, Gary's voice actor. And you can definitely tell. His voice seems to be pretty easy for me to call out, at least. I don't know. Whenever I hear it, it's like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. But yeah, he's basically a paparazzi Pokemon photographer. He tries taking pictures of people's Pokemon when they're not paying attention to get them in the most natural habitat. Great, so he's a dick. apparently Todd Snap would be the protagonist of the Pokemon Snap game. So that's the main reason I wanted to cover him here, even though he's only in 3 episodes, just in case he's important later. I don't mind James's performance as him, but it does sound a little too much like Gary, in my opinion. So, but yeah. Oh, speaking of this episode, which just so happens to also be around the time in this little mini arc that Butch and Cassidy show up, and what I noticed is they're the two you don't fuck with in Team Rocket. Ash is eating rice balls. Yeah, not jelly donuts, no. He eats rice balls and even comments on it, and Brock is even like, yeah, nothing like a good old rice ball, right? 4 kids. Was your budget running low this week? Explain? Please? I'm serious, I was confused by this. Oh yeah, we're also at the point where the episode where Butch and Cassidy showed up is the final episode of the Blu-ray set and the set on Netflix. So I guess according to the Pokemon Company, that's the last episode of Indigo League, but fuck that shit. We're going on. Can't let it in there, man. I already brought up the Cinnabar Island stuff earlier, the Cinnabar gym, kind of with the whole riddle gimmick, but I would be stupid if I didn't mention the Magmar versus Charizard fight, which was easily the highlight of the season for me, or one of the highlights. That fight was fucking awesome, and even though I think Charizard's a dick because he won't listen to Ash for almost no reason, again, get to that when we break down the league soon, I still really like this fight. This was really cool. They fought over like a volcano. That was an awesome backdrop. But yeah. And then right after this is the episode where Giovanni reveals himself as a gym leader and kicks Gary's ass with an unknown Pokemon. I wonder, it's Mewtwo. Yeah, it's Mewtwo. Look, I played the Smash games. I know a Mewtwo when I see it. Anyway. But yeah, I thought that was cool. And it was a nice setup for the film. Basically like a nice little lead-in, which we will be covering next. I know, big shock. But yeah. I don't know, I really like that. Like, these episodes all were around the same time. This was when the season really started getting good, in my opinion. But yeah, when he leaves and Jesse and James take over the gym, I thought it was a nice touch that Gary helped out Ash here. Because it showed Gary wasn't just a one-dimensional dick. He had moments where, you know, he would be like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to help out Ash. There's also moments where Professor Oak tries mediating as well to help them get along more. And it's like they don't like each other, but it seems like they respect each other a little bit after this incident, kind of, is my understanding of it. And I don't know, I kind of like that sort of thing. I'm a sucker for that shit, so. But yeah. And around this time, after this was also when Snowy Out and Holiday Hijinks would air, and, you know, because of the seizure incident, I actually really liked Snowy Out. It was a one-off episode where Ash gets lost in the snow and is alone with his Pokemon, but I liked how wholesome it was and how it showed how strong the bond with his Pokemon were at this point. How he was basically trying to put them back in the Pokeballs, being like, don't come out or you'll freeze to death too. And they came out anyways because, you know, they didn't want to leave him alone and abandon him. Even Charizard, or Charmander. Yeah, fuck you, Charizard. You want to do that, dick? And now I can't avoid talking about it any longer. The last band episode for this set, Holiday Hijinks. So, in all post-2010 re-releases of Indigo League, Holiday Hijinks is missing. If you want to own Holiday Hijinks, you must get the 2009 or earlier releases of Indigo League on DVD. Fortunately, they're not too pricey as of right now, but yes, this episode is banned from all current releases that are, you know, on the market, which is bullshit. It's your typical Christmas episode, but you do get a little more on Jesse. So if you're wondering why the episode was banned, it was after someone named Carol Boston Weatherford said that Jinx was a stereotype of black people or some shit, and I just think this is fucking stupid. I'm sorry, it reminds me of the Popo controversy, even more so in a minute. But yeah, you know, I never knew Santa had that many black women working for him. Holy shit. Eric Stewart himself would say that this episode, even after they colored Jinx purple, which again reminds me of Blue Popo, Eric Stewart said this episode is not appropriate for American audiences. Eric, I respect everything you have done. You are a brilliant voice actor, but I strongly disagree with this take, dude. Like, come the fuck on. Someone out there, please tell me, were you watching this and thinking, yes, that is 100% a black woman? Especially after they colored Jinx purple. I don't know, this just seems stupid to me. But yeah, so, as I said, the episode itself was fine. I didn't mind it. It was, you know, Christmas episode. And who doesn't like Christmas? But yeah. After this is when the Pokemon League is about to pick up, so Ash has to do one-off training episodes. Again, not really much to say here. There's some with Slowbro, which that has to be the most chilled-out stoner Pokemon I think I've ever seen in my life. But yeah. As far as the Pokemon League goes, this was another highlight for me again. I love tournaments, and this is a basic tournament, so, you know, I'm easy to please with that shit. And, yeah. Some of the things I really liked, I like how Ash used Muck and Krabby here, because those were two Pokemon he captured in one-off episodes I never thought would come back later. Oh, speaking of which, when he captured Muck and sent it back to the Professor Oaks, you know, the holder thing, I forget what the hell you call it. Someone's going to correct me on that and want to hurt me, I'm sure. But yeah, Professor Oak is like, hi, Ash captured another Pokemon, I wonder what it is. And then Muck shows up and is like, oh no! I died laughing at that. But yeah, I thought that was cool. He used Muck and Krabby here. Like, that was a great callback. Because it made the episodes feel more meaningful instead of just nothing but one-offs back-to-back. But yeah. Some of the ones that he fought here, like his first opponent was Mandy, who's also Ted Lewis, you know, Giovanni, who had a really funny accent. And he literally says, my hands are not meant for people. They are only meant for Pokemon. Phrasing, buddy. He says that when someone tries shaking his hand. But yeah. Of course, the highlight for this arc, or at least the one the show really tries hyping up, is Ash's new friend, rival person named Richie, voiced by Tara Sands, who's Bulbasaur, also Biscuit from Hunter x Hunter, and Mokuba from Yu-Gi-Oh! And she does fine. She's basically, or Richie, he's basically a more mature version of Ash, I guess. He also names his Pokemon, which is something I was always wondering about why no one else did that. Like, Ash just calls him Pikachu, Brock calls his Onix, etc., etc. Whereas Richie actually names his. Like, his Pikachu is named Sparky, his Butterfree is named Happy. Yeah, I thought Fairy Tail at that one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, thought that was interesting. And yeah, I thought their friendship was, between Ash and Richie was believable. And they did the whole thing where they ended up having to fight each other, which, you know, thought that was cool. Ash losing here, though, I was not expecting. Like, I had a feeling he'd lose, obviously. I don't know, because it was like, oh, it's the end of the season. Ash isn't going to make it very far. And it's clearly trying to teach him, you know, not to get too arrogant. But it's because Charizard was a lazy dick. That's the only reason he lost. Because Charizard beat Richie's Charmander, and then Richie's Pikachu shows up, and Charizard's like, nah, I don't want to fight you, man. I think I'm just going to go to sleep here. It's like, you're a lazy dick. And I know, like, they do, Professor Oak does try telling Ash afterwards, he's like, when you become a more powerful trainer, Charizard will listen to you. And I guess I get it. It's still, I don't know. I still think Charizard's a dick for this. Not like it matters. Both Gary and Richie would end up losing in the tournament anyways. Hell, Ash made it past Gary, so good for him. Anyway. The season would end up ending with Ash and Richie making a promise to get stronger as trainers and to continue on their journey or whatever. And yeah, that's it, I guess. Oh, I should mention real quick, in the league, Tara Sands is really bad. She voiced like multiple competitors. Yeah, gotta bring that up. But that's basically it. That was Pokemon Indigo League. And Ash wants to return to Pallet Town now. His home. He misses his home. Now, my thoughts on Indigo League. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Oh, when going into this, I thought the dub would be dated, and like I said in part 1, it is in some spots. The ad voices, the puns are out of control. Holy shit. For, again, obvious reasons. And half the time, I'm not even sure if the puns were there with the accurate translations from Japan or from us. Because I'm aware Japan loves pun humor as well, but holy shit, there were times when they went overboard with them. But yeah. Other than that, though, I still really had fun, and I honestly regret not watching this when I was a kid. I miss Pokemon Fever, but I'll make it up for that shit now, man. And yeah. As far as negatives, as said before, I do see some of the one-offs being a little meh. As said, some were hard to comment on, like there wasn't much I could really say. There's obviously some I did miss, like the Butterfree saying goodbye thing and playing a montage of all the earlier scenes with the Pokemon theme playing. That was a really nice moment. But then there's a lot of other ones I already mentioned that are just not much to really comment on. So if I missed your favorite episode, please let me know what it was down below, and, you know, all that stuff, get a discussion going. Or if I missed a moment that you felt was incredibly major. Again, this was just my first impressions of everything for Pokemon Indigo League, and as I said, I had fun with it. The story is very simplistic, which I did hear a lot of people tell me, but I also understand that that is the appeal of it, because at the end of the day, you could jump in at almost any time and still have fun. You could start from just about anywhere and easily understand what's going on. Ash is the brash, arrogant protag that needs to be taught the lesson, which sometimes he learns, other times he needs to be retaught it. Misty is the typical tsundere who means well, which I should mention, there is a moment in the beginning, like a few moments where she's chastising Ash, and 4Kids forgot to remove the sound effect when she slaps him. Yeah, they edited out a scene where Misty slaps him. Instead, in the dub, she just yells at him, but you can still hear the slap sound effect. It's kind of funny. But as it goes on, Misty warms up to him, and they start just having friendly banter instead. And then you have Brock, obviously, who's, okay, the massive man whore, who wants to be the one who could help Pokemon and breed the ultimate one. Like Chocobo breeding. But yeah. Also, what the fuck was with Ash's mom adopting a Mr. Mime? Also, how come when I looked it up, like, me and Di found out Mr. Mime has a 50% chance of being female? How the fuck does that make sense? I don't get it. But alright guys, I think that's going to do it for this one. MVPs of Indigo League, I definitely have to give it to Eric Stewart and Rachel Willis. Veronica Taylor is also really good. Honestly, you know what? All the mains are really good. Maddie Blaustina's Meowth was really great too. The Hollywood episode with Meowth's backstory was another one I really loved. I didn't really go over that much because I kind of covered the majority of it in part 1. He got rejected by a cat he loved after all the effort he put in, so he left, and then he met up with Team Rocket. But yeah. As far as what's next for Pokemon, well, at the end of that Giovanni Mewtwo situation, Mewtwo did blow up Team Rocket's headquarters and Giovanni chased after him, so I wonder what's going on with that. Join me next time where we'll talk about Pokemon, the first movie. And please, like, comment, all that stuff. Or don't, I don't know. And let me know if your favorite Pokemon and favorite episode. And yeah. Till next time, guys. Thanks again.